and I'm excited to get started because we have a new speaker with us who's bringing up later today as well. And I was supposed to have a joke, and I'm the joke master, but I forgot about that. I don't have a joke in mind. Does anyone want to step in and have any joke lined up? I see your hand.
I got dad jokes.
Awesome.
I don't know. Actually, I got to think about that. Why didn't the pirate dad take his kids to the bad movie?
That's R-rated.
It's R-rated. So I got another one. It's a little grosser. Did you know that diarrhea runs in your family? No, diarrhea is hereditary. It runs in your genes.
Wow.
Sorry, those are the dad jokes with my kids.
No, that's okay. I think that I think there are some jokes that are dad jokes, and I think that one is not a dad joke. I think it went really well. All right, there are some roles in this meeting I like to call up as we continue. First role I would like to call up is our tabletop master, who is Michelle. Michelle, can you share with us what that role is?
Hello, thank you, Toastmaster, and greetings, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. The purpose of the Topics Master is to facilitate table topics where guests and members will have the opportunity to practice their impromptu speaking. I will introduce a topic and call on speakers who will be given 2 minutes to speak on the subject.
Next, I would like to call on SoMeridian, who is Will.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. My role as SoMeridian is to introduce the word of the day and encourage its use by speakers, evaluators, and table topics participants. I will note who uses the word of the day or a derivative of it correctly or incorrectly. I will listen to the word usage and note any awkward misuse or spectacular use of the English language. I will also note words and sounds used as crutch or pause fillers such as and, well, but, and by anyone who speaks during the meeting, and I will give my report at the end. The word of the day is as follows: sacrosanct. Most holy, treated as if wholly immune from criticism or violation. A sample sentence is SAC ROSA NCT. Definition: the rights given to us in the Constitution are sacrosanct. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Pronounced at the moment. And next, I would like to ask Timer to come up and tell us his role. That would be Jason.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. You're gonna have to refresh my memory.
You need a script.
No, sure, yeah, absolutely, sure. Actually, I just don't remember when to do the green. Is that like forever? So, well, you know what I mean? And then there we go.
Yeah.
So they help me out. When introduced by the Toastmaster, please state the following ingredients. Table topics. Speaker should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At the 1 minute mark, I will raise the green. At the 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will do the yellow. At the 2 minute mark, I will do red. At that point, you should finish up where you're at in about 30 seconds. Icebreaker, all those other speeches are, what are our speeches today? 5 to 7? Okay, so I'll write that down. And evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. So I'll polish that. Sorry. Whoop. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Welcome back. And I'm sure as you come to visit us more often, everything is going to be amazing. All right, moving on. Next is our general evaluator, who is Kathy.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop, Mr. Toad. Apologize. fellow Toastmasters, we're all fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, soon to be Toastmaster. The role of the general evaluator is to evaluate the overall flow of the meeting, as well as evaluate the evaluators of the speech.
I do have time. I didn't quite catch. Justin, how long's your speech? 2 to 5? 2 to 5? 3 to 5?
Yeah.
And Michelle, how long is yours?
I'm gonna try to push for 5.
Okay, so 3 to 5.
Hopefully I can get the nerve to get me to that.
So red at 5.
It's my first.
Okay.
Oh, 4 to 6.
4 to 6. Okay. I got you.
Cat. Our this, I think that covers kind of introduction of roles. So next, I'd like to move on to the speaker role, which for the speaker role piece, we're going to do something different today. And because it's the time of year where we're doing officer elections or coming up to do officer elections for new roles, Justin's going to come and share with us a little bit what that means, and also we'll call up those officers who are on the meeting now to explain a little about what their role is. Justin.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. It's that time of year again when we have elections. I understand every year we do this, and you get nominated and then voted for. You have interest in these positions for the club. These are this club officer position. Nothing major involved. We have 6 positions here: the president, vice president of education, vice president of membership, treasurer, secretary, sergeant. Those are the positions very of us built in this room. Oftentimes it can be daunting, think, how am I going to do those positions? For me, that's the way I felt when I was nominated for president last year. I was no way president of the club. I'm a brand new speaker. I did not feel ready. I went ahead and took on the challenge. It was definitely worth it. I encourage everybody to do that. Really encouraged me to grow more. You get more involved. Whatever role you take, you're just more involved with the club. We're already in small clubs, so you end up just doing more after the club. But really, it's not that much. I thought it might be a huge minus side was one of my concerns, but it's really not. We're a small group. We meet once a month or so for after the club meetings, or officer meetings, I should call them. That's what they are. And then there are some things I've been to, some events like the speech contest, just to go to support them, just for good. It's really not that much of a time suck. And I was concerned about how am I going to know all these things? What do I need to do? Not only is there a manual you can do, but we have great members of the room. Every one of the members here help me out. Questions, we're all in it together. Nobody's here alone. And just like a regular meeting, we come in, Bill set up today, even if he's not the sergeant arm. I've set up, I've been here alone and set up all of it. Everybody's here to help each other. I encourage everybody to consider a role to be a part of the club. And it's not what you think, what you imagine being super involved, super busy, super overloaded, super overwhelmed. We're all in there to help each other and then we run for each other. I think it's just more of a title. I never felt like the big I encourage everybody to get involved. And with that, I would like to invite Kim maybe first to share with us what his responsibilities are as the various tasks. Like I said, he helps me in so much. Yeah, I feel like he has many roles already.
Thank you, Mr. President, President. And my current role is the VP of membership. As I understand it from Toastmaster, the role of VP of membership is to greet the guests and also follow up with helping communicate and reach out and motivate guests to eventually become members. Part of the role, I'm sure that there's certain characteristics that you want to have, being inviting and things that you do, but I feel as a member or growing into a role, a leadership role like that, is something you can grow into. gives you the ability to approach people that you normally wouldn't approach up to. You get you out of comfort zone, like Justin is saying, and it is a role that is. I'm trying to get more understanding and also learning. It's a year role. So far, some example of things that I've done is just meeting up with the guests and inviting them and following up with emails as well, and to try and encourage them to not only become a member, but ask them why is it that they want to be part of the group and the club themselves. So that is part of that role, as well as also being part of the leadership role. You grow in that area where you help in the leadership of actually growing the club itself. So as Justin was stating, membership, VP of membership, I also do the detail administrative in the back to make sure people get all the right access to be able to log in by pathway. And then once it's all signed up, that's how we can combine together and make sure that the club goes. So other than that, I think there is some other roles I need to transition into, and I will, because the only person that I see here is Kathy. Kathy is currently a treasurer. I'm going to invite you next to talk about what the role.
VP of membership. The current role that I am in is the VP treasurer. Is that how you pronounce it? VP, I think it's just treasurer, not VP, the treasurer. And as it sounds, the treasurer is to maintain funds for the account. We have all of our funds at Twin Star Credit Union, and I am responsible for not only collecting the dues, but also depositing into our accounts, into our local accounts. I was also instrumental in collecting some money that we had here as petty cash, and it ended up being, I think it ended up being about $18, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for our club to subsist on $5, $5 or $6 is our local dues, and we have in our current account we have plus or minus $1,600, which is really, really good considering we have purchased a television, we purchased this equipment here, we purchased folders. We are a pretty solid club when it comes to funds. Like I said, with that $5, $6, that's not a lot of money, and we've been able to really maintain that. I've been treasurer for about 2 years. I transitioned from VP of membership. I transitioned from, before then, I believe I was Sergeant of Arms. Before then, I was president. So I filtered through many roles, and I would really love to mentor someone in another role. And I know it's difficult when you jump into a role as a leader. You are just starting out in this sacrosanct situation. I know it's challenging, but I do believe it helps us to grow. Just like Justin said, I think it helps us to grow and stretch in our leadership roles when we take on leadership in this capacity in the Toastmaster Club. Not only are we learning to speak, we're learning to lead, and we're learning to manage. And that's what I really enjoy about this club. It encourages you, we encourage one another, and I look forward to assisting someone in this role in the future or any other role that I may have served in. At this time, I'll turn it back over to. Are you tossing?
I'll have some follow-up.
Oh, you have some
Yes,
follow-up.
I think
Okay.
so.
President, turn it back to the president.
Thank you for sharing. And again, we have several positions open. The secretary was vacated by a lady who had opportunity to go to Mexico for some ministries. That was great. And that's right. So there's several positions. All of them are up. Is that correct? For once a year, everybody gets reelected.
Yes, the only thing that you can't rerun for again is president 2 years in a row. Yes, you can rerun for the same position. So we do need, yes, we do need to go to that position, but And I don't know if you would wanna share, I don't know if we have time, but I know the other roles, maybe a little bit about the other roles that, Brandy is taking on.
Social environment, they'll set it up, and they plan the events from what I understand. Things like that. The primary is setup here. Like I mentioned, all these roles, I felt it was, I don't, we all help each other. I wouldn't be discouraged by any of the responsibilities in there. I was a little responsible for weird and not ready for it. But it really helped out. Ask questions. Really not. It's not like a job where you're hired. Encourage that. Your Sanko position you want to do.
That's good.
Let's get on the vote for you. Encourage you. I think we're gonna do that next week, nomination. Possibly. With that, I will hand it over to Michelle. So I'm going to introduce you. What was your speech title again? I'm sorry, 3 hands.
3 hard.
3 hearts. Hearts.
Hard.
Hearts. Okay.
Hard.
HARDS. Well, I'm looking forward to your first speech here with that.
Yeah.
Well, first, before I get into the speech, I want to say thank you really for allowing me to kind of work out some kinks and have this opportunity. So my speech is the 3 parts. When I started my grief coaching job and working in trauma therapy and trauma coaching at WW, the one question I always received was, why? How did you get into this? Isn't that hard? And it is hard. And one day when I was crying in my closet, because I didn't want my kids to see me and hear me, I closed the door and I was just going through things that I've gone through in my life. And I was crying out. I said, I've gone through my mother killing my father. I've gone through sexual assault. I've gone through going to the military. I've gone through all this racism. I've gone through a marriage where I was just ignored for years. I'm tired. I am tired. And God spoke to me and said, yes, you have. And that was it. And I meditated on it. And when I walked out of my closet, I really began to encourage myself because I replayed everything that I went through, all the things that I overcame, going through the things that I learned and all of these certifications that cost thousands of dollars, all because I wanted to heal something. And then I asked myself, what do you want? And at that moment in my coaching career, it was money. I was like, I want to figure out this coaching thing. I want to build my brand. I want to build my business. And I was like, Michelle, you've had money. You have lots of it. Can't do this. But what do you need? And I said, you know what? I really want you. I want to not feel as if I'm helping my children repeat the cycle of hurt, pain, suffering, and silence. So I said, how do I do it? It's going to be hard. So then I started to really look into what trauma is. See, I understood what the definition of grief was. Grief was losing something that you love. But then I didn't know what trauma was. I didn't even know how to begin to figure it out. So I started. And then I realized that there are 3 parts. So with trauma, I realized that that's the experience that you have. So my first part was the lived experience. We all go through traumatic experience. But then the second part was where I was in that moment. Was I had to wake up the next day. And I realized that the world still existed. Even when I was in pain. Even when it didn't make sense. Even when I was not connected. Everyone still flowed. And I was just there. So then I said, how do I get to this? And that's where Life After Loss Academy. We are the hardest. We allow you to come into our facility in the hardest moment of your life. And the reason why I say it's the hardest is you're going to have the courage to go back to that hard experience that you realize what it was that you want to take from it. What lessons you learned from it? What did you gain from it? And then have the courage to leave the doesn't serve you right. And how do you do that? You show you different ways to really heal your nervous system. Because it can be. We have modalities and researchers and experts that show you how somatic healing, meditation, Reiki, we discuss that helps us get into our nervous system and uncover that unconscious and subconscious connection to our trauma that we don't discuss. Because oftentimes we have those memories, we're existing, we see it, we're triggered by it, but we don't realize that it's body. And having that courage to go to that hard moment in your lived experience, take the things that you need to learn to really apply, release, and connect to it, so that way you can align with exactly where you want to be and connect to it. So thank you for allowing me to just share with you the 3 parts that I had to realize in my own journey. It was hard to go through that. It was harder to exist in the reality. And the hardest moment was just allowing myself that courage and ability to heal. Thank you. I'll flat, but I'll remember it.
Thank you, Michelle, for that wonderful speech on 3 hearts. All right. Next, we are going to move into the topic. So I actually have to ask you back up here and run us through table topics.
Okay. We're gonna use the handy dandy cards, and I did shuffle them, so hopefully I won't pick the same ones. So do I have a volunteer first? All right. Would you like to pick? What are the largest obstacles preventing you from realizing?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Investor. What are the largest obstacles preventing me from realizing my dream? You're looking at it. I believe I'm the biggest obstacle. I could point to people, places, things, but the truth is, it's not any of those things, people, or places. It's me. I believe I am the biggest obstacle standing in the way of realizing my dreams. I have many dreams. I desire to do a lot of things. And the only thing standing in the way is me. You may ask, why are you standing in the way? I think it has to do a lot with feeling responsibility for others. I think a lot of it has to do with desire to see others succeed over myself. Today that will change. Today I will remove the obstacle that is preventing me from realizing my dream.
Would you like to volunteer? Should I pick? Thank you. Jason.
Okay, I'm game. You got me?
Yeah.
I did. I would pick the same one I've been picking all along.
What's your favorite quotation? Or quotes? Thank you. Master, my favorite quotes, I got a bunch. Life is what you make of it. Take action today. Listen to me. Anyways, I'll just roll with those. So life is what you make of it. I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. Challenges, successes, and we learn a lot as a coach and stuff that I do. We learn more from our failures, challenges than successes. And sanctus sorrow, or whatever it is I truly believe spirit guides us, whatever that word was. I've screwed it up, and there's a higher power there. So they all have vibrations and stuff like that. So once again, if we just learn from our challenges, continue to move forward, like being a part of Toastmasters. I think I shared that last week. This is really easy for me now. And I just know that I embrace all of you guys. Really, 10 years ago, I would sit here and pass out. So take the bull by the horns. There's no one right there. And make life happen today. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I've got one.
Do you want to pick it or want me to pick?
Yeah, well, I think just don't ask me if I'm alone in the way.
Me too. All right, so it's not being alone in the woods. Historical sporting event. What would you like to witness?
Historical sporting events, that's a good one, considering I don't really keep tabs on the sports. Immediately, historical sporting events, I think in the Roman gladiator. But I would not want to witness that, because that's pretty brutal. It's one thing to see people do the WWE or play football or even our boxing. Isn't the MMA, that's a big thing right now, and people get boxed up and bloodied up. At the end of the day, they're alive. They might be missing some teeth and broken nose. That's probably along the most brutal I'd like to witness. Seems like historically, there's a lot of brutal, that's just what comes up. And I think if they like fed the lion, when they fed the lion, here, you are not leaving that place alive. That is what I think of with historical sports for some reason, but that's all kind of great research. How would you like to be there? You're up, Captain. Here, go fight the lion, or go fight the other individual, whoever wins. Yeah. Maybe even both. I didn't know a lot of I'm very much more thankful that I get to watch baseball and you see the guy that jumped over the thing lately. Horrible. But that's about the extent of the game. So thankful to see that. Although there is football, it's not a game of fun. More into the scene. Historically, I'm guessing it's fun. With that, get back to
Oh, you can go.
I love speaking. I was Toastmaster, but it's going.
All right, I'll go.
Would you like to pick or would you like me to?
Oh, I'll give it a shot.
Same thing.
politics.
It's gonna be in the way.
What is that?
All right, my question is work valuable for its own sake? I have to say no. I think it's what you make of it. If you're just working to just go, you're just going to burn yourself out and not provide any value to yourself or others. I've been guilty of it. I've done, I wouldn't even say work, but just doing things that are hard just to say I did it. You can get value from that because it shows you what you can do. But at the same time, if you're working in a coal mine for 18 hours to make a small wage and then end up dying at 30 and not being able to enjoy anything, I would hardly say that's valuable. Not to say that work isn't valuable all the time. I mean, I think it's important, but I think knowing what your goals are and working for a goal is ultimately what provides the value to the work. The work ultimately results in the value, but if you're just going for no reason, it's not, buddy. All right, I think I got it. I mean, it could sacrifice time.
Mark yourself down.
I'll. Who inspired you as a mentor and why? I would say it would be my drama teacher. I was really big into theater, and I grew up in a predominantly white community. I was often the only African American either in class or in the whole entire school. Even though I was the lead in a lot of the roles that I tried for, There was one particular role I just didn't envision because it was a mom and a dad and a child. And I said, I can't play the mom. And she said, why not? I said, well, it's not going to make sense on stage. It just doesn't look right. And she looked at me. She said, no, there are no small roles, just small actors. And it hit me. And I knew in that moment that she has now given me the permission to be anything. In the next role that I was, if you're familiar with Much Ado About Nothing, Don John is his name. Well, it wasn't ours. It was Donna June. And that's who I played. So that would be someone who would bring in for position replacing. And that's be
Michelle, for all the great table topics, I love how every week that we have meetings, you always have great table topics, discussions. It's always wonderful, it's always insightful. I really like the ability that we have sometimes to go through multiple good topics. Next, I'm going to transition into our evaluation portion of our speech. So I'll call Justin up to give his evaluation. Show speech.
Michelle, that was an excellent speech. It's hard to believe that was your first speech. And when you just shared your theater, it makes it. You did a really good job. Really enjoyed hearing what you had to share with us. But I'd use a good, better, best, nothing. You really did a good job. You came up, you stepped back from this here. You really engaged us with your info line to your speech. You had good facial expressions, really good vocal writing. Really impressive. You had no notes. I still have to have notes. Really good job. Also, you had really good eye contact. Looked around at all of us. Talking to us. Really felt like it was really good job. Your story that you shared was really impactful. And really share the emotion. You gave us the hard experiences, describe the process. We have a really good summary. As far as things you could improve, which is very minor, you did a really nice job overall. One thing I noticed in the body of the story, I didn't catch the second and third part. It kind of went a little fast. And also just a minor thing, maybe some more vocal variety or volume. I mean, not right. Good job, Brian. Just make it a little bit louder. I sense you're a little quiet right here. Increase it for the back. And also, what they've always told me is like move the podium, which is hard to do. This is kind of a weird setup. Like you're moving, but try it. Great speech. Like I said, there's very little feedback that I could give on the improvement side. So I felt like you did a really nice job. And then, albeit you didn't have the description in the body, at the end you did a really good job of summarizing. In case we missed it, here you go again. You did it for us. Nice job. Thank you.
All with your evaluation, I got my role and you come back up here again. Well, evaluation, I think you did the second speech already, so I think we're at the point now where I'm actually calling a general evaluator to give us an evaluative speech. I can't believe the time just flew by. All right, Cassie.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Evaluation of our meeting today, excellent as always. I think we have a way of bringing life to our circumstances. our situation. So that part I really love. We did start a little late. I had our time as 12:07. Roles were not completely filled. However, they got filled right at the start of the meeting. That's something I think we can continue to work on crafting, and I know that's part of my responsibility too with the Zoom temporarily. I'm not sure how long that's going to last with how we're doing the Zoom, but that part, again, speech and evaluation. I'll start with the evaluation because evaluating the evaluator. I agree with almost everything you said, Justin. I will echo what you said about volume. I think that goes hand in hand. So your volume, speaking out because the speaker is way over there. Just got the ums today. The volume is over there, projecting your voice. I believe when you have your face down, the sound goes down. When you have your face up, the sound goes out, speaking out. One other thing is I did catch all 3 points from the speech. The today. The other thing that I caught that I would encourage you is to have a call to action. Anytime there's a speech, you did summarize, like Justin said. However, the connection between your experience of the 3 hearts and what you want the audience to take away, I would recommend have some call to action, whether it's to join life after, whether it is to find your own hearts, whatever that is. I would encourage you to do that. I also agree that you use body language, you use scripting. However, it was repetitive. It was not purposeful. Sometimes when we talk with our hands, they just do what they do, and we don't really have a plan for them. You did have some specific ones where you talked about the journey after. That's scripting. However, I do this too. So don't feel that I'm putting this out for something that I have wrong. That happens. But speaking with your hands, I do that all the time. In fact, when I see myself on the video, my hands are like flapping, like I'm flying. Yours weren't quite that. Yours weren't quite that. Trying to find the word. Yours weren't quite that exaggerated. Thank you. Yours weren't quite that exaggerated. However, I think finding a place for your hand when you're not talking, unless you have something specific to point out. And I did notice you pointed when you spoke, and that could be seen as pointing at. Just be conscious of that. Overall, great evaluation, great speech, great meeting. Thank you. Now I will call on the roll, starting with the timers. Keep us out the red.
Perfect. Thank you, General Evaluator Kathy. There's my own first speech. Don't know how that was supposed to flow, but Justin, you were at 2:22. You transitioned over to the VP of Membership, Kim, for 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Kathy, yours was 3:01, then back to Justin for about a minute. Great speech. You hit it right on the head. Pretty much 5:05. Michelle, for your first speech, and that was amazing. Table topics 1 to 2 minutes. Kathy, you're at 1:12. Myself at 1:15. Justin at 1:34. Will at 1:07. And Michelle at 1:07. Evaluation. Justin was 2 to 3 minutes, and right there, 2 to 2:32. Kathy, yours was 2 to 3 minutes and a little over, which was really thorough though. 3:23. Good job to everybody.
Next will be the role of the author, Mary Will.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. All right, starting with Kim, you had 5 uhs and 3 ums. You had 1 well. You repeated yourself twice. 1 was share, 1 was I'm. Moving on, Michelle, you had 1 and. I gotta start reading my writing. Some words that stood out were what do I want a lot of? Trauma, 3 hards, leave what doesn't help you, and no small roles, only small actors. Justin, you used the word of the day once. You had 2 words that took out were Roman gladiators, time suck, all in this together, and go fight lions. Jason, you had one kind of word of the day.
Sort
All the letters were there.
of. Yeah.
You had 4 You repeated yourself once with we. Quotes that stood out: life is what you make of it. Embrace. I forgot what I said. Fun there, but take the bull by the horns. Kathy, you used the word of the day once. You had 9 and what stood out to me was I'm the biggest obstacle to myself, and I got the today.
Thank you so much for this wonderful time that we get to practice our speaking. I'm glad Augur Marion. I'll turn it back over to our president. I was thinking Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kathy. Much appreciate, again, all the different perspectives and evaluations and something different. Thank you, but I did only miss it in body, so I wasn't sure. What happens when you're multitasking? Sometimes. It was a great meeting. Appreciate everybody. And again, I encourage everybody to think of a role you might want to take to really take on for another year. Everybody, anybody in this thing. Next week we may be going through this come back. All right, anybody have anything to add?
There's, Robin mentioned some conference and text that might be interesting to folks.
That is, so, yeah, right. I think Cat is gonna be there. Is that the one that's coming up?
It's next Saturday.
Next Saturday. They're doing a speech contest in Silverdale. There is an entry fee that club might be able to cover that. Interested. What is the
I think it's $50. Yeah, so it's a District 32 conference, and international speech contest. This is actually in the chat, in the group chat, so just read off it.
What's the date?
Information,
What's the date?
May 17th. It's in Silverdale, so that would be, you have to register by this Saturday, which is May 10th. So that's in 2 days to get $50. I think you can, you want to attend, you need to register, but yeah, you have to register by in 2 days, and there's a link to it. But
So I think unless there's a way to we can touch the card to the registry. But if you put it on the screen first.
Yeah.
So easy.
yeah. But yeah, so it is yeah, it's an on-site, and you're also going to be supporting if you wanted to join for that one.
What time is it? 10 to 10?
It's an
All day.
all day.
All day.
All day.
Starting the sorry, the third.
I didn't look at that.
Can I speak to that? Justin?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually had the honor of running one of those about 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it really changed my Toastmaster career. So we were over at the Red Lion, and I brought in the speaker. So I encourage all of you to go to that.
Okay, well, any more questions, feel free to ask after I close the meeting here.
They told me to be there by noon. So
Yeah.